the sound on my phone isn't particularly great because I'm having problems with that as well. But I just spent the last 15 minutes trying to get the audio to not sound like a bag of arse on my laptop, which is an expensive laptop, and I don't know what the problem is with the audio on it. It's been awful ever since I got it. But here we are. Thank you for sticking with me. I think some people are going to be coming over now from the other stream, so I'm just going to I don't really know how this is going to work. Let me see. YouTube Studio. Sorry. Morning, Diz. Yay. I don't understand why it does this. It makes it so difficult to find your own stream. It's like, why would you do that? Obviously, I've got to update all the blurb and everything. But what I'll do is I will copy and paste that into the old chat. Go, look at my massive hands. Go here. So I'm trying to do a show about mental health, and I'm going out of my mind trying to get started on the bloody thing. I'm in Liverpool today. It works, says Janeway. Thanks, Jane. Al in the chat there. This just in, me morning. Who else did we have in the chat? In the old chat, we had Martin Hammer in there. That was Super Tiny, Paula, and Jeanette, and Gallifreyan Wren. If you want to join the chat, you can, because I don't think I even set this up properly, because I just pressed a bunch of buttons really quickly. So let's let some more people file in. Grab me water. God, do you know what? It was all ready to go 9 o'clock, and I'm there, and I've moved the window across into the stream and everything. I'm just going to fill time for a few minutes while we let people file in. I just noticed that on the mic levels, right? I didn't get like a monitor in me or anything. I noticed on the mic levels that it was like dead loud, like there was a lot of fluff coming through, like really loud, because you could see it on the bar chart thing, whatever they call it. Yeah, so I started trying to play around with it. I plugged my headphones in. Oh, hang on. Oh, shit. What are you even doing now? Stupid fucking computer. Don't unplug things from the computer. Just don't touch the computer. Just not touching the computer. Piece of shit. But yeah, if you want to donate to buy a secondhand laptop that has a decent bloody sound card, I'd really appreciate that. But then yeah, I tried the headphones, and the headphones were too quiet. It was like Goldilocks, except there wasn't one in the middle. There was one that was like too loud, and there was one that was too quiet. I hope everything's sound now. I don't know. The microphone on this phone it's got mud in it or something. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. But I noticed when I watched back some of the stuff that I filmed at Glastonbury, it was a bit clicky. It was a bit clicky, like high school, a bit clicky. And my tea's cold. Oh, this is the worst day to do a mental health episode. I'm going to have to put my tea over here now. Hi, Graham. Your mic sounds like my tinnitus. Oh, okay. Fuck. I might have to just sack this off then, Saz, because, like, that's not great. Oh, Catherine's in the chat. Hi, Kat. Hi. Not having a great morning so far. Sound is fine. We soldier on. It's fine here. Okay, but is it coming through like? Is it? Because when I was at Glastonbury, it was coming through. There were like sparkles, I think they call them in the audio. It's clear to me anyway. Okay, well maybe turn the audio off and just rely on the subtitles. Jesus fuck. Anyway, it's all right. It's all right. It's my own fault. It's my own fault. No sparkles here. Okay, my own fault. I was out last night in Liverpool with my mates. And yeah, it just got me thinking. It's fine here, much clearer and better than Glastonbury. Okay, cool. Harry Flashman says sound is okay. Seems okay to me. I don't think it says. Not literally. My mum says sounds okay to me. Hi, Mum. Can I have a? Would you mind making me a cup of tea, Mum? Because this one's gone cold while I was trying to sort out the mic. Thanks, Mum. She's in the other room watching this. I would love to help with the new recruitment fund. However, I'm currently struggling myself, and the sound is perfectly fine. I'm watching on TV. Oh, thanks, Chris. No, obviously, I'm on my phone at the moment. Thanks, Mum. Right, can we talk about mental health? I was only going to do a half-hour show today. I'm going to have to wrap up in 5 minutes. As I say, it's just there's so many things that can go wrong when you're trying to do these streams, and you just don't think of it until you're like ready to go live, and then you go, hang on, that doesn't look right. And then you end up going down this rabbit hole of like trying to suss out what it is. Anyway, it's okay to not be okay. Yeah, it's okay to not have great audio. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is mental health, the omnicrisis, and surviving in a world with non-stop bad news. And it's one of the reasons why Rachel and I do the rabbit hole, is just to have an hour each week where we don't talk about politics, where we talk about anything but. And you know, I just, are you okay? Like, honestly, you know, because I don't think many of us are. And no, I want to put out the shared recognition that just things aren't normal right now. They're really not normal. It's fine. You're not going mad. It's not supposed to be this way. And I think the psychological toll of living through overlapping endless crises is just, it's a bit much, isn't it? I want to talk about the impact of news saturation and global trauma. I want to talk about, you know, practical tools and solidarity, that ways that we can sort of help ourselves and help each other. And I want to sort of a politically aware approach to wellness that isn't bollocks. I'm sorry, but so much of the wellness stuff that I see on the internet and the I don't know, the mental health stuff, especially with ADHD, because now I get a torrent of ADHD stuff on TikTok. Some of it's good. Some of it, honestly, some of it is really good, but some of it is just absolute bollocks. And I'm sitting there going, this is nonsense. This isn't me. This isn't describing me, and this isn't going to help me. Maybe it'll help someone else. I don't know. But from my point of view, I'm kind of like, I was taught saying I'm fine actually means I'm fed up, insecure, neurotic, and exhausted, says Chris. Yes, yeah, pretty much. So let's talk about the rise of the omnicrisis, this term that arose to describe the simultaneous overlapping crises that define modern life: the climate, the economy, politics, public health, war, disinformation. And, you know, this is a real sort of convergence of systemic breakdowns. And, you know, I mean, just look at the headlines this week. We've had information about the plane crash in Gujarat, in India, in Ahmedabad. We've had Trump coming back and saying he's going to bring in massive tariffs against the EU and against Mexico. He wants to bring in tariffs against Brazil, even though America doesn't have a trade deficit with Brazil. America buys more things. Brazil buys more things from America than America sells. So why is he putting trade tariffs? Because his mate's on trial. His mate's on trial, and he doesn't like that. So he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna." And then you've got what's been happening in Ukraine with these drone strikes, the constant drone strikes. We've had the horrors of Gaza endlessly played out in real time through the internet. And it's, you know, we used to have local news on the telly. We used to have Anthony H. Wilson, you know, hang gliding and going, "Oh, I'm hang gliding." You know, that used to be the news. We'd have half an hour of national and international news, and then we'd have half an hour of local news. Someone's cat got stuck up a tree. There's too many potholes on Townsend Avenue. Do you know what I mean? It was never anything that bad. It seemed anyway. And when we saw the starvation happening in Ethiopia in the mid-80s after a BBC News report about that. People kicked into action, and it felt like we were doing something to help. I mean, we might not have been, or we might have made a bad situation worse. I don't know, but at least there was that feeling that we were trying. At least we were doing something, But now it's just bad news all the time. It's stuff you can't do anything about. It's like I can't do anything about Trump being the leader of America, except maybe give America a swear for the next few years, stroke decades. So we've got that, and then we've got social media on top of the news, on top of being told news like everywhere in the world all at once, everything everywhere all at once. That's life now. Something happens, bad thing happens, the mudslides in Papua New Guinea, this side of the world. Back in the day, you wouldn't find out about it for 3 weeks. Now it's like, here's the image of the fucking mudslide, and you watch it going, oh my God. And people send it out, and, algorithms are set to prioritize rage bait, fear, urgency. No sense of nuance or resolution of ways to deal with these situations, how we can help. And you saw the outpouring of wanting to help when Russia first invaded Ukraine, for instance. There was this massive outpouring of people going, what can I do? What can I do? And at that time, it was close enough to do something. And I remember I went to Costco with my mum before going out to Ukraine the first time to buy a bunch of stuff to take over. I don't know, we took over nappies and sanitary towels, and we had this list that was given to us by the people working at the refugee centre on the border at Midaika. And we were given that, and so we went out, and I was loading up the van, and I had on the side of the van, UK for UKR, like assistance to Ukraine, and a woman just parking up next to us. Oh, thanks, Mum. Oh, you've put it in me travel cup. Oh, brilliant. That'll stay warm forever now. Cheers. Thank you. No, I've got water. I'm good for water. Thanks, Mum. Cheers. Cheers. I'm just squeaking. I'll take that off, actually. That's very squeaky. Normally what I do when I'm taking that on or off, because it's dead squeaky, I normally turn the mic off for a second. I don't know if you noticed. But yeah, that's what mothers are. Lots more than that. I'm actually here because it's my mum's birthday next week, so just popping in to see her before her birthday. That's why I'm in town. We got a £5 super chat in. I'm sorry, I'm going to be wobbling the camera around for a moment here, but I've got to go back to find out where the super chat came in. It came from Paula Thomas. Thank you. Sorry, I can't afford more. Here's a contribution to the new mic fund. Oh, thanks so much, Paula. That's really kind of you. I want to get. I've got that. The. Oh God, it's gone really dark. Why have you gone so dark? What is wrong with you? I can't adjust. This is also adjusting. Has the sun gone behind the cloud or something? Oh no, it's because I've got the. Oh, I think it's because I pressed the screen. Okay. It's a bit mad on your phone because you have on this part of the screen to me, right? I have all the messages coming up, right? And then just to the side there is an X, and you're very tempted when you're trying to I need to be able to see what's on the screen. I don't want to see the messages for a second. It's very tempted to press that X, but you press that X, it doesn't get rid of the messages. It stops the stream. It's like, who set this up? Who set this up? But yeah, I've got a little breakout box, right? And it plugs into my USB-C, and it's got internet connection, it's got microphone connection, it's got all that kind of stuff, and it always works on all different computers because it's a USB-C. And I forgot to bring it. I forgot to bring my silver box, and so that was it. Of all the things that I needed to bring to be able to do the show, the little box. Oh, thank you very much to Sarah for £2. Here's something towards a gift for your mum. Oh, thanks, Sarah. I will spend that wisely and get my mum a little something for her birthday. So yeah, we were talking about social media being this sort of amplifier of the stress. So, you know, we one of the things we get is like, no, it's just about local news and like our local papers that we used to read, like the Mersey Mars, the Liverpool Echo. You know, from local papers to and telly, like telly news at 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, news at 10. You know, if you're a news junkie. But the rest of the time, you weren't watching news all the time. You weren't getting constant updates. And one of the worst things that we've got at the moment is push notifications. And I know that I say, oh, you know, if I'm doing one of these shows, you should definitely subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you know when we're going live. So I'm probably guilty of this myself, of sending out push notifications. But at the same time, like if it's coming in from like the news sites and stuff, it can be really, really damaging because you're in the middle of something else and suddenly you're stressed out about some terrible thing that's happened on the other side of the world. Richie Goth says, happy birthday, Graham's mum. Oh, it's your mum's birthday, did you say? Hang on, I'll have to scroll back a little bit. Happy birthday, Graham's mum. It's my mum's birthday today too. Oh, she's 88. Happy birthday, Richie Goth's mum. I'm also in Liverpool, well, Southport. Oh, it's nearly Liverpool, isn't it? You're Liverpool at the moment since you got rid of your Tory MP. We'll let you back in the club now. So yeah, so there's also the phenomenon of doom scrolling, which is what I call I've got like a folders on my phone of like all my stuff, you know, my apps, and my social media app is literally called doom scrolling. And I hate it. I hate it. I wish YouTube would piss off with the news, to be honest with you. And I've got a lot of friends who agree with me on this. Like, let's have a platform that's just about what your mates are up to. You know, who's getting married, who's going on holiday, who's just had a kid, who's got a new job. You know, and it's not political. It's not all like, you know, Trump's done this mad thing. Let's have an argument about it. Thanks very much, George. Hey, guys, Gary's Economics is back. Oh, that's good. Exactly that. Pissed me off when certain generations state they fought for the right to be nasty. F off. They didn't fight for anything. True. I don't. Unfortunately, as I'm on my phone, I don't have my animations at hand, so I can't say not all boomers, but and not all boomers. So yeah, information overload as well. Like I say, anything that happens anywhere in the world, it's in the news now, and the news headlines change so much. Like, you got to appreciate, like, if you think about it in terms of, say you watch the news bulletin once a day, so every 24 hours there'll be new news, right? Now, every time you refresh the BBC, the Guardian, the CNN websites, every time you refresh, there's new news. There's new news. My mum's come in. Hi, mum. What are you up to?
I'm looking for something.
My mum's looking for something. Okay. What are you looking for? Do you want to tell me? I might know where it is. Is it a hat? I've got a hat. I've got another hat. This was from Panama, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Do I look like 50 Cent? I look like middle-aged dad bod 50 Cent. Instead of having two hats, I've got two hats. Are you all right? Can you find it?
I'm all right. I'll find it eventually.
Okay. But yeah, and from a psychological perspective, and look, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a shrink, I'm not a psychiatrist or anything like that. I'm not a neurosurgeon. It's not brain surgery with Graham Hughes. But there is an evolutionary mismatch or a mishmash, a mismatch. Like, humans evolved in close-knit groups responding to immediate local threats. And this 24/7 global info stream coming into our heads, I mean, it means we now experience secondhand trauma, like, constantly. And this results in a constant state of sympathetic nervous activation, you know, fight or flight. Fight or flight gets triggered in us like several times a day by just reading the bloody news. I loved how some old lady was trying to argue we spend more on asylum than foreign aid, than pensions, and then told pensions cost us 115 billion a year. Yeah, I saw that clip on LBC. It was just, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about what this does to us. The mental health impacts. Anxiety. is a big one. Burnout, depression, hopelessness. And also there's this like a swinging of a pendulum from the extremes of hypervigilance, of needing to know what's happening at all times, and desensitization. Maybe it's not even a pendulum. Maybe that's the same thing, because you've only got so much milk of human kindness. You've only got so much empathy. You've only got so much emotional credit that you can put into stuff. And if you're having difficulty in your life at the moment, and then seeing people all over the world struggle and just thinking, I can't do anything about this, it's very, very difficult. And it leads to difficulty sleeping, which I know a lot of my friends suffer from, a lot of people who make content especially. Poor concentration, brain fog, which I suffer from, especially more recently. Like, I'm nowhere near as sharp as I used to be. And I don't think it's just because I was drinking last night. I think that just in general, like, I'm getting that brain fog more. And I don't think it's just because I'm getting older. It might be a little bit that as well. But like, I think it's just because of information overload. And Suzanne, $2 super chat. America over here building internment camps. Yeah. Alligator Auschwitz. I was reading the report this morning about there being like 20 people to a cage. People put in cages. In this is going on right now in America, in Florida. People are being put in cages. And I'm just like, what the And then I feel helpless. I feel outraged, but also I feel incensed. I feel so angry, not just at the people doing this, but the dickheads who voted for it. Like Latinos for Trump. Are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? And everyone in this camp is Spanish. They're all Spanish speakers. Well, they're not from Spain. I mean, they're Spanish speakers. They're lusophones? No, that's Portuguese, isn't it? What's someone who's a native Spanish? What's the word for it? Like anglophone or saxophone or francophone? What's the Spanish one? Lusophone is Portugal, isn't it? Yeah. Hispanic phone. I know, but there's for the language. What's the word? Anyone know? Anyway, one toilet per 32 men, says Susan Casey. It just doesn't bear thinking about. And that is happening right now. And it leads to overwhelm and emotional numbness, because it's hard to care about all this stuff all at once. And then we're seeing the social impacts of all this. I bear a phone. No, because that'll be the entire Iberian Peninsula, and that includes Portugal. So it can't be that. Unless there's people from Brazil there, I guess. Someone look it up. Someone quicker than me. Because the thing is, if I type anything, my keyboard is literally here. I've put my phone on my laptop, which is why it's a bit of a weird angle. I'm not happy with this angle. He's achieved all this since January. Yeah. And he's getting away with it. We laughed at Dr. Evil and laser-armed barracudas, and now we have it in real life. You're right, Anne. You're right. Agreed. I was really angry that last night still had people voting Tory, and now these Muppets think refuck is the way to go. Yeah, Richard, he's just deleted your message, but that I agree. My heart is just broken. I'm looking for a new therapist, says Suzanne. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Oh, Dave Moore says his panaphone, I can't say that. His panaphone. Do I say his panaphone? Is that the way it's pronounced? I suppose you can't really tell me in the text. You can write it phonetically. But yeah, I knew there'd be a word. There's always a word. Spanaphone. That is not spanaphone, accurate, Dave. Definitely not spanaphone. So yeah, the social impacts of this. Increased division, as we discussed. Like, we know people who are all gun and co for this, who think this is a good thing. How can you be friends with them? Seriously, how can you be friends with someone who thinks it's okay to treat human beings like that? Where do they draw the line? Are they going to treat you like that? Are they going to treat your family like that? Would they call out if you were taken away? Or would they just go, oh, well, they probably did something to deserve it, didn't they? One who speaks Hispanic, you were getting it right, it's fine. Hispanic phone. Just switching over to PC, says Richard Grumpy Git. Oh, no worries, mate. No worries. But I agreed with the last message that you sent. Absolutely. And with the downside, well, there's a lot of downsides, but you know, social impacts, a cynicism, nihilism, apathy. You know, what's the point? What's the point? And we're seeing a collective collapse in the trust of institutions, the media, each other, you know, and the political impacts. You know, the far right, you know, they exploit this despair with easy answers, easy solutions. Stop the boats, and suddenly, beer won't cost what £6.80 a pint. You know, you'll get some change from a tenner when you buy a couple of pints. The left is demoralised. It is, you know, and fractured, and also kind of distracted because of this thing of like everything everywhere all at once. You'll find that people will look at one particular cause and they'll go, I need to look at this because I can't cope with everything else that's going on. So I'm going to pick a cause. And, you know, it'll be a noble cause. It'll be concern about Gaza. It'll be concern about the environment. It'll be concern about animal rights or something that, you know, something that we should be caring about. Absolutely. But what will happen is then people get into their heads that there's sort of a hierarchy of stuff that we should care about. And whatever it is that they care the most about is what everyone needs to care the most about. And that doesn't quite work. So it creates more division. It creates more difficulty for people to work together on the left because they're like, no, and I've had this with my friends, you know, people I love who are like, absolutely 100%, we've got to rejoin the EU. And I agree, we do need to rejoin the EU, but we also need to do stuff about climate change. We also need to put pressure on Israel in any way, shape or form to stop them doing what the mad shit they're doing at the moment. The demonic, crazed bullshit that the Israeli government and the IDF, this reign of terror onto the people of Gaza. The vast majority of which have done nothing wrong. And you know, in a movie, when the bad guy gets a little girl and puts the little girl in front of it, and you know, he's got the little girl, and he's like, "Get back, or I'll shoot the little girl." I've not seen a movie where the good guys shoot the bad guy through the little girl, and then are seen as heroes at the end of the movie. Maybe there's one out there, but I've not seen it. They usually drop the weapons and say, "Hey, whoa, 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 whoa." Think about what the IDF are doing. They're just shooting. They don't care. Oh, Rosie, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Sending love to everyone. Thanks, Graham. You do such a fantastic job. Oh, that's really nice. And an early happy birthday to your mum for later in the week. Oh, thanks so much, Rosie. That is very, very kind of you. Christopher says the left does purity politics. It's a very divisive way. On the right, they just promise small government, low taxes to unite their side. Yeah. And they're very good at uniting their side. Don't care that refuck seems to be split into three. They will morph back together in the next election. I think that the next election is going to be a mashup of the Tories and refuck. Paula says, yeah, but when Labour are showing increased signs of transphobia, it's getting serious. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And that, again, this is so frustrating because the right know that going after trans people is a fantastic way to split the left. In the same way that they know that get accusing or using anti-Semitism as sort of this last bastion of acceptable prejudice or acceptable bigotry splits the left like nothing else. Like, they are so good at targeting the things that split us, that split our votes on the left. How can I, as a trans ally, support Labour when they're doing everything in their power to make trans people's lives a fucking misery right now? How can I support Labour when, Nick's going to talk about here about the red lines, with regards to rejoining the EU. And it's difficult, and it makes me feel like shit, because I don't want to be associated with a party that's doing this stuff. But I know as well that if I want to try and do something that I can actually do, something that I can achieve in a small way, a good way of doing that is by maintaining a good relationship or maintaining good relationships with friends of mine who are MPs or people that I know who are MPs in Labour, and basically lobbying them. I've got no one else with any power that I can lobby. I don't know any Tory people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't know where to start to talk to them, and they've got no power now at the moment anyway, really. It's just Labour. And Labour backbenchers are incredibly powerful, even though Labour's got some mad 200-seat majority. Well, it's not quite that much, but they've got a mad majority in the House. They don't need, they don't need 50 of their backbenchers to back them. They'll get stuff through. But if it's 100 backbenchers saying we're not doing this, then it really changes things, as we saw with the climb down over the squeeze on Pip. They tried to squeeze our pips, and the pips were like, "We're not gonna squeeze our pips. We're not gonna squeeze until the pips squeak." And it's difficult, but it's maintaining that sort of balance of, okay, what's a practical way that we can actually deal with these people who are doing mad shit. I think the best thing we can do is point out to them that they're doing mad shit in a less confrontational way. And I know we all do it differently, and I'm not having a go. It's just I look at the difference in the responses to Ed Davies' sensible, well thought out, structured questions about mental health, about carers, about people like looking after family members, about the European Union. Ed Davey asks two really good questions that get constructive answers that I want to know. I want to know the answers to those questions. What are you going to do about mental health? What are we doing about getting back into the EU? What are you doing? And then you've got the Kemi Badnock approach, which is, you're a twat. I hate you. Why are you even here? And you're like, is that the question? Why am I even here? And there's nothing constructive about that. Her criticism is not constructive. And I think that sometimes we fall into that of just going, Starmer's a bastard. He's a red Tory. I hate him and this. And you know what? If you met him at a conference or something, or you're just in a room with him and you had one question, would you waste it telling him he's a knobhead? Because that's not constructive. And I know it's nice to sort of let off steam, especially in this chat. Don't think that I'm saying that you can't call him a knobhead, because you absolutely can. Here, it's just, and I might be wrong on this, but I think that my sort of little, from the barracking from the sidelines situation in my life, I'll do better sitting down and having a cup of tea with people who actually have a modicum of power. And if that could be a backbench Labour MP, because those backbench Labour MPs all talk to each other. And if they say, hey, do you know that we're doing this? Because here's a secret, right? A lot of these MPs don't read the bills. They're just told to vote for them through the whips. And I'm not saying they're lazy, because some of these bills run into hundreds and hundreds of pages, and they can be quite complex, like they've been looked over by lawyers and all that kind of stuff. And these MPs have also got the constituencies to look after. If you're someone like Nigel Farage, you've got 17 different jobs that you're grifting from while being an MP. You haven't got time to read papers. So pointing stuff out that is in these papers is a good thing to do. Marjorie Taylor Greene, someone must have pointed out to her that this thing was in Trump's big bastard bill about not putting any restrictions on AI for 10 years. And she was like, what? It's Vendette saying it's their fucking jobs to read the bills. Yeah, I know, but they don't. So I can't force them to read the bills, But what I can do is point out there's something in the bill that they might want to consider putting an amendment on. And if you talk to your local MP, if they're a Labour MP in particular, or even if they're from another party, especially the Lib Dems are very good at this, they will be in there in the committee stage of bills talking about like how this is going forward. If you can point that out and say, hey, you know, it can make a difference. It really can. So yeah, with the right are really, really good at splitting us up. And one of the reasons why I don't tolerate trolls on this live stream, not just for my mental health, but also because I don't want to turn this into a debate. I want this just to be a discussion. I don't want to have a fight on this. And I know that people who watch this aren't necessarily have my way of thinking, or Phil's, or Supertansky's, or Mike's, or anyone who appears on this channel. We probably don't agree on everything, but we agree on the essentials, on the desire to be on the right side of history and to not be horrible to people. I think that's what we can all agree on. How we go about that project is up to us as individuals, but yeah, the right's so horrible. They're so nasty. They're not decent. They're not polite. They're just full of rage and just like angry at the world. Another thing that we try and do on these streams, and all my friends who make content try and do this to more or less extent, is just to kind of keep things like bubbly, like have jokes, throw some gags in there. Be cheerful, even though, you know, it is difficult. It is difficult. But I don't think that it would be good for my mental health, and I don't think it'd be good for your mental health if I sat here every morning going, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? I think it helps to actually have this sort of, okay, let's discuss it. What can we do? And when I say write to your MP, please don't think that that's a cop-out. It's really not, because it can work. It can absolutely work. Mike says, I'm okay with being horrible to some people. Yeah, but here's the difference, Mike. You'll be horrible to individuals who have wronged you or done something shit, or like individuals who have gone out and tried to burn down a hotel with asylum seekers in or something. You'll be horrible about them or to them, but you're not horrible to people for who they are, like as an accident of birth because they were born in a different country, or they have a different sexuality, or they're the different ethnic makeup, and then just saying this whole group of people, tarring them all with the same brush, when they haven't made the decision to be that way. When someone's made a decision to be a fash, then fuck them. We can be as nasty as we like. I don't give a Nigel Farage. That I really don't think he should be allowed. Full stop. Cathology, thank you so much for the €5 there. I play dads and lads football, made loads of new friends, getting fit a bit. There's pizza and beer too. Sorting out the housing crisis is key here. Yeah, Cathal. Really good advice. I was going to come to stuff like that in a bit to talk about like what we can do for ourselves. What you can do for your country and what you can do for yourself. But yeah, I didn't mean the baby bottle emoji, lol. I hate it when that one pops up. But yes, populations are becoming more and more emotionally reactive and less deliberative. And this is why I feel like we need to have these discussions. And even as a small group of us, being able to have a chat about it, I think is so important. Paula, thanks for the 20 quid super chat. That's really kind of you. In the early 80s, I was scratching a BMP sticker off a sign in Bethnal Green. A van stopped. A big white blokes got out and hoped I'd wake up in a nice hospital bed. And I hoped I'd wake up in a nice hospital bed. One of them, they got to finish the job I started. Relief flowed. Oh shit. I'm really sorry about that, Paula. That sounds really shit. But and then you were scratching off a BMP sticker, which is like, a public service, isn't it? I'm really sorry. That sounds really fucking shit. I'm sorry that happened. I realised I can actually make my chat come out on my computer here, so I don't have to touch my phone. Because every time I touch my phone, it makes bad things happen. But thanks very much to Paula there for the super chat. Wayne says, hi Wayne, how we doing? How you doing, mate? Not seen Wayne in a while. You need to come. He's doing his milkman thing, isn't he? You need to get back on the chat, man. Get back on the on the social. Get back on the social. Or maybe me and Wayne could just do a show on a different day, where Wayne, it's like the effing and Jeffin show with Wayne Lynch. That'd be awesome. So let's talk about how to cope with all this. Okay, this is what I want to talk about today. Sound a bit hissy now. The what's it called? The fan came on my computer. So I'll tell you what. Sorry about that. It's because my phone is literally sitting on my computer, and when the fan starts on the computer, it goes crazy. So I'm just closing down some windows so that it doesn't use so much CPU. I wonder if I close that window, will that close? Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's good. You can actually close your YouTube video and have a pop-out chat. So that's good. The Wayne and Graham show would be demonetized before it even started streaming. Yeah. Will it be called See You Next Tuesday, Bill? Said Vendetta. Oh, God, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Should we do that, Wayne? Should we do that, mate? Be instantly demonetized. So let's talk about how we can cope better with all this sort of shit coming through constantly. Limit doom scrolling. And look, if I could rewrite the 10 Commandments, I was talking to mate AB about this last night. If I could rewrite the 10 Commandments, one of them would be, please don't give people advice unless they ask for advice. Because it does my fucking head in. I'm scared to tell anyone that I've got any kind of ailment these days, because I get inundated with solutions to the ailment. So I just keep my gob shut. I don't tell anyone that my back's killing me, or I've got a sore foot, or I've got a sore throat, or I've got a bit of a blocked nose. Because, oh my God, I don't want all your solutions. I don't want all your remedies, because everyone's got a different remedy. I can't try them all. It's overwhelming. Stop overwhelming me with your advice. So unless people ask for advice, some people, myself included, sometimes we just want to complain about stuff. We don't want to be given solutions. We don't want to be told what to do. What you want to do. That said, I am now going to give you some advice that works for me. Okay? So one of the top ones is think about how you used to get the news, right? Or people used to get the news in the 1980s. So they'll wake up in the morning, they might get the paper delivered, they'll read all the news from yesterday, and maybe they'll watch the 6 o'clock news, right? Waiting for El Dorado to start or something, right? And so you'd get 2 bursts of news a day. That was it, like 2 bits a day when you were finding out what was happening in the world. So get your news check-ins, dialed down, but you don't have to be the first to know that a celebrity's died, or that an earthquake has happened in Morocco or something. You don't need to be the first to know. We've got this kind of weird FOMO thing going on where, if we're not, oh my God, I found out about this thing through social media. I didn't find out about it through the news. That's a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you're constantly refreshing the news, you're in a constant state of heightened alert and heightened fight or flight. Like I said, secondhand trauma. Another thing that we can do is to mute keywords. If you're using Twitter, I don't use. Really good bit of advice: get off Twitter. Get off Twitter. If you ever put anything on Twitter, do. And I've mentioned this before. I always remember an interview with Christopher Morris a couple of years, I think, after the infamous paedophile special of Brass Eye, and he said, "I went on holiday. I just went on holiday. I just left. I just went. I basically made the show. I knew there'd be a massive backlash. just went on holiday. And this is before mobile phones, so he couldn't even say he turned his, well, not before mobile phones, but yeah. He had a mobile phone, but not a smartphone. So he turned his mobile phone off and just had a holiday. And there was all this rage in the newspapers going crazy. How can you make jokes about this stuff? You know, the joke was on the media for the way that it treats this subject. But they didn't see that. And I like that. I like that idea. I like the idea of just dropping a bomb and then walking off. Do you know what I mean? Not an actual bomb, but I mean like a metaphorical bomb. And just leaving the mess for other people to freak out about. And I think that's really good advice for social media. And so what it comes down to there is, okay, post on Twitter, post on Threads, post on Blue Sky and Facebook and whatever. But then just drop it and walk away. Don't read the comments. Like, I don't normally read the comments on these videos. I read the chat. I like to read the chat while I'm doing it. But, like, the comments, fuck it. Because we're a gang here. You know, we got our wonderful regulars like Anne Phillips and Chris C and Vendetta in the chat there. Gallifrey, Ren, obviously Mike, Cathal, you know, people who hang out with us. And that's great. You know, this is our little forum for talking about this stuff. The comments after these lives, you sometimes get some anonymous account who just wants to be a troll, just wants to be transphobic, just wants to have a go at me for my appearance or for my lack of knowledge about whatever subject it is. Which is, you know, it's kind of fair. I don't know everything about everything, but at least I know I don't know everything about everything. I'd like to, my brain's just not big enough. Can't store all that stuff. Snowy Cat, Nick Crochet, listen to upbeat music and dance around the kitchen. Snowy Cat, I was honestly, it's on my list. It's on my list. So yeah, and like I say, I will get off Twitter. I just do not see the point of that platform anymore. It is a nasty, it's an evil site. It doesn't make anybody happy. It just makes everyone more angry and irate. And it's a breeding ground for Nazis and trolls, you know? So curate your sources, you know, follow a few reliable voices who you like watching the videos of here on YouTube or on TikTok. If you want your news in a kind of informal discussing kind of way. I prefer getting me news like this. I prefer finding out what's going on through Phil's latest video or Maximilian's latest video, because I like the commentary on it. And I know it's a bit like the opinion section of a newspaper, but I kind of I find that a more human way to find out what's going on. And I know it feels maybe a little bit like gossip, and that's why, but being told stuff in a way by your mates, by people that you know, by people who you're familiar with, feels a lot more tangible and relatable than being told stuff by some bloke you don't know on the telly or some idiot you don't know on Twitter or whatever who's going to have a horrible take on it. So yeah, also talk to people who are online all day, you know. Go play some five-a-side footy and meet people who are off grid, so to speak. You know, make some friends who don't necessarily have to talk about politics. And I know we always end up talking about politics on this channel because it's called Politics Social. But I had a great time last night meeting up with mates, and we weren't necessarily talking about politics. We were talking about music, Glastonbury, festivals. Just, you know, the Liverpool. I love this city. Do you know what I found yesterday? I found a place in Liverpool city centre, and this is like 2 days after being in Newcastle, having a terrible time in Newcastle, trying to find somewhere to just chill. I had an hour to kill. I want somewhere to chill. I'm in Newcastle, and everywhere's a road with cars. Every 5 seconds, or a bus. Boom, 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 boom. The fucking bus noise, that frequency, that just goes through you. Drills into your soul. Not that I have a soul, I'm ginger, but that's not the point. And they have one pedestrianised road, but it's all shops, no cafes on it. And even if there were cafes on it, they're like digging it all up. So I come to Liverpool, and loads of the city centre in Liverpool is pedestrianised. It's not just one road, it's not just church streets. It's the Paradise Street, it's all around that area. It was all paved for pedestrians, right? No cars. And there's a park in Liverpool called Chavez Park, or Shavy Park, as some of my friends call it, which is named after Noel Chavez, who was a guy who was a doctor in World War One, who got the Victoria Cross twice. Okay, my mum's popping to the shop. See you in a bit. Bye. It was named after this guy who won 2 VCs, or was awarded 2 VCs, which is not practically unheard of. It was very difficult to get a VC, never mind 2 VCs. But he was running out of the trenches and rescuing soldiers who were dying, and like literally doing surgery on them in no man's land to keep them alive. And he would help out the German soldiers as well. He was a doctor. That was his job. And he got these commendations after the war. I mean, during the war and then after the war. And they named this park after him. And it's now, it's very different from what it used to look like. It used to be this sort of patch of wasteland between the Moat House Hotel and at the Albert Dock. And now they've built an underground car park, and they've built this hill on it with trees and grass and stuff. And there's a little bar in the corner. It only turned up in May apparently, so I hadn't seen it before. And it's just like a food truck, but it's a bar, right? So a food truck bar, whatever. And they have this little bit sectioned off on the grass with trees, right? And there's loads of people milling about, the shops, and there's a play area for kids, and it's noisy, but it's a hustle and bustle of people. It's not cars and buses and trucks and pneumatic drills. And they had trees and grass and bean bags. So you could go and get yourself a cider with loads of ice in it because it was so hot. And you could sit on a bean bag in the shade of a tree. And I was like, this is amazing. Why can't all city centres be like this? And I was thinking about how stressful I find Manchester city centre or Newcastle city centre, because their cars go everywhere, and how different this felt of being able to just sit on a beanbag waiting for an hour to meet people. Are you all right, Dad? Dad just sneezed. Bless you, my dad. Cathal, thanks very much. Get to the Irish bar for 4 p.m. for football treat, says Cathal, with a €3 super chat. Thanks so much for that. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with Take On Me, the video. I used to sit a foot away from the telly watch it on TV, Saturday morning, lol. Awesome. For socials, I have Mastodon. No algorithm, which means relationships have to develop gradually and organically. No instant gratification. There's a wonderful group of weirdos there. Yeah, and that's something as well. It's like, it's nice to have a group. It's nice to have a gang, whether they are apolitical or political. But to have people who and you see all the time. And one of the big problems that we have with social media is you're constantly inundated by strangers who mean you harm. They're not there to make you have a good day. They're not there to put a spring in your step. They're there to be horrible and demean you and say horrible things, horrible, racist, misogynistic, sexist, xenophobic nonsense to make you feel bad about yourself. Charles, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Writing to my local MP about my idea for a voluntary EU tax that EU citizens can pay out of their payroll to get their freedom of movement back. I would love that, Charles. I would absolutely love that. I would like to have an EU passport that I pay into. I would absolutely pay for that. I'll cancel my Adobe subscription. That's the most expensive thing that I have to pay out for. It's like £30. No, it's more than that. £40 a month or something. It's insanely expensive. Yeah, I'll get rid of that. the quality of my pre-records and my thumbnails will go down, but you can't have everything. But I'll be a member of the EU, so I could do these videos from another country. And yeah, talking to people who aren't necessarily politically minded, but also just not talking about politics can make a big difference. Finding somewhere that is quiet and relaxed, go in the park, which I always love to do, especially here in Liverpool. We've got Crocky Park, we've got Sefton Park, Seffy Park, Otterspool Park, Prince's Park. There's a lot of nice spaces in Liverpool, and lots of green places you can go and just get away from the road, get away from the traffic, get away from the pollution and the noise and the stress, and just chill. And meeting people in real life is important as well. Having that connection with people, someone that you don't like very much. I mean, all connections good. As long as it's not with someone who actively hates you, I guess. But yes, and when you're feeling that overwhelm, know that it's happening in yourself. Know that you need to take a break from it. Avoid like really intense stuff. That can go for TV shows or movies or podcasts even. That like, if you're not in the mood for it because you are feeling overwhelmed, the worst thing you can do is go and listen to some podcast that's like detailing the horrors of war or something. It's not going to make you feel any better. And don't feel bad for doing that as well. Don't feel bad that you're sort of you're stepping away for a little bit. Don't feel bad for not watching these videos if you're feeling like I just don't want politics today, Graham. I don't want to talk about this shit. I don't want to talk about all the horrible things that Trump has done. Like it's cool, that's fine with me. I'm not going to take a register. present, and yeah, and then using audio, as Snowy Cat said, just dancing to music in the kitchen. Create a playlist of songs that you absolutely love that work as a sort of mental reset. Maybe not the Holy Bible by the Manic Street Preachers, maybe not that album, but something that you like the sound of. I've got to say, and I know I've been banging on about it. Mike was taking the piss out of me yesterday for going on about it so much, but the new was it Mike taking the piss or was it AB? Someone's taking the piss out of me. The new single by Wolf Alice, I just find it so relaxing. I just love it. It's just like, let me just chill. That's the song. Just go, like, let me just lie here on the sofa. Let me just chill. Let me just take a break. I'm like, yeah, I need this right now. I need this song right now. Also, is it ASMR? Is it ambient sound apps for sensory regulations? For sensory regulation, I think is a really good idea. And yeah, going back to sort of having a chat with people, I'm shit at small talk. I fucking hate it, but I think it's got to be done. Like as a survival tactic more than anything. Let's just talk about the little shit. Movies and music are usually my go-to because I love them both and I'm a little bit obsessed. But also travel. Like one of the cool things about all the places that I've been is I can talk about travel like no other, like very few other motherfuckers can. So I can say, where have you been on holiday? And I can have a chat because I've probably been there and talk about what it's like and, the good bits and the bad bits. Got in the taxi last night. Uber are now doing shared taxis. Uber are doing shared taxis in Liverpool. Don't know if they're doing them in Durham, but I've not done that before. And it was £6 to get home. It hasn't cost me £6 to get home in a taxi from the city centre to West Derby. It's not cost me £6 since I was a teenager and the clock used to start at 70p. That's kind of cool. Anyway, I got in the taxi, said to the guy, all right, mate. His name was Adrian. I said, all right, Adrian. He goes, you're great. And I went, yeah. I get him, are you from Sri Lanka? And he went, how did you know that? And I said, because your surname is Sri Lankan. And he went, yeah, I am. And whereabouts are you from? And we had a chat about where he was from in Sri Lanka, but in a way that wasn't like, how dare you be here? I'm bigging up Sri Lanka as like a really cool place and how much of a good time I had there watching the cricket and drinking tea and alcohol. It was good. So yeah, I mean, talking about that stuff takes me away, takes me far away from the political stuff. I'm sorry, my stupid fan has started again on my computer, so it might be a little bit noisy. I don't know why. I've got hardly anything open on my computer. Pete's Music says, I went to the cash machine last night. Guy in front of me was standing on one leg. I asked him what he was doing, just checking my balance. He said, dun, 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 dun. Love it. Love it. Very good. Very good. So also, you know, yeah, moving your body is really helpful. This is why I play Pokemon Go to death, is because it gave me an excuse to get out the house and actually have a walk and clear my head and think about something else, thinking about, catching little fucking pocket monsters instead of thinking about all the shit that's going on in the world right now. But yeah, dancing around your kitchen. Snowy, that's actually in my notes. Dancing around the kitchen. And go outside and I know it's a bit of a it's used now as a bit of a term of not endearment, is it? Where they go, you need to touch grass, but no, literally go out and go to the park, sit down, just relax, get away from it, turn your phone off for a little bit. Unless you're a doctor on call, no one's going to die, I don't think. And then engage in what they call like flow activities, I think they call them. But I love cryptic crosswords, jigsaws, baking. I love cooking. Catherine loves cooking as well, so that works out really well. DIY, love doing DIY, love getting myself into a task. Even model trains, scalextrics, Pokemon Go, whatever it is, getting in those activities that give the brain a rest from these high alert stuff. Do you know what I was thinking about, actually? Because here in my mum's house, got a lot of shit in the attic that's mine from years ago. Need to pitch most of it out, and I've always seen it as kind of like this. Obviously my ADHD kicks in. I'm like, oh my god, it's such an insufferable task. I'll have to do that. It'll take me days to go through all that. But now I'm kind of thinking, I'm coming back here in the summer. It's the summer. I'm coming back here next month in August. I'm going to be staying for a week, and I was like, it'd be quite good to just spend a couple of days doing that mindlessly, going through my old stuff, nothing to do with politics, just having a task, having a job that I can focus on, and just have my phone off, and I don't need to check on what's going on at all times. So I'm talking about this stuff, and I'm giving advice. I know I'm giving advice, but I'm also giving it to myself. I'm also saying, hey, these things might help me as well. Well, they probably will help me, to be honest with you. But yeah, activities that absorb your attention and give your brain a chance to just, give it a rest in this high alert, fight or flight, fucking terror, omnicrisis mode that we all seem to be in at the moment. And there's no shame in it. I hate it when people hobby shame. Like people go, oh, you're into model trains, are you, fucking nerd? And I'm like, if people enjoy it, what's the problem? It's not hurting anyone. It's their thing that they're into. Although I do absolutely love that there's a cartoon. There was a cartoon that someone put on Facebook that I saw, and it was like an old man going, autism's just made up. It's not real. It's it's kids these days, blah 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 blah, dissing autism. And then he says, now excuse me while I get back to my model train. He has this massive model train set in front of him, and I'm like, yeah. I think autism's always been here, my friend. But yeah, I like it when I get to sort of hyper focus on one thing, and I can sort of switch off from all the other stuff that I probably should be doing. But if I'm going to hyper focus on something, I'd rather it be DIY or fixing stuff, or cooking, or doing a jigsaw. I'd rather be focused on that than constantly doom scrolling on my phone. It's better for my mental health. But here's the thing, right? I do that stuff and then I feel guilty. I feel bad. I feel like, oh, I should be checking my phone. I've got this little voice in the back of my head. What if something's happened, Graham? What if you got to do an emergency live stream because, whatever? And I'm like, I've got to stop. I've got to quiet that voice. I'm giving myself some self-therapy here. But you're not morally obligated. You're not morally obligated, and I'm not morally obligated to see every single fucking headline. Turn off push notifications from news apps. That I couldn't stress that enough. Turn off all your push notifications, because you just don't need to know so many of them. And push notifications do my absolute head in. The one that's the worst for me is bloody chat heads, on on Messenger, on YouTube Messenger. I turn it off because I'll be doing a live stream and a bloody bubble will turn up with someone's face in it, and I'll be like this, trying to get rid of the fucking thing, go drag it down to the X. Oh my God, and it destroys me flow. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm halfway through a sentence or something, and I'm like, oh, where was I again? So yeah, get rid of those notifications. You don't need them. Saying yes to life is important, but so is saying no to the world sometimes, says Sneaky Fish. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. California man, I spent weeks building the RMS Titanic. My housing officer thought I was dismantling her again. Didn't seem to get that I'll find peace in building her again. Yeah. I completely get that. I completely get that. And I love making stuff. I love seeing stuff that I've made. Like my garden in the back of our place in Durham gives me so much joy. Not because I'm particularly green fingered, but because me and Kat put it, we did it all when we got the place. It was just a backyard. It was a concrete yard. And now there's a lawn with wildflowers, and there's a patio, and there's decking, and there's a little den for the kids and stuff, and it just looks great. It just looks great. It just gives me like such joy to look out the window and go, I made that sleeper wall. I made a wall of sleepers. You know what the hell I was doing? I just looked up on videos on YouTube on how to build a sleeper wall. I fucking did it. Lots of sanding. Still got the fucking RSI. Beat what's that? Can't beat a bit of Lego. Yeah. Well, we did Lego last winter, didn't we? Maybe I should do that again. My mother got rid of Star Wars box and Lego when I was at school. Too old for it. Fuming. It's now worth. Compensation was Lego Millennium Falcon. Yeah, I completely get that. And Waymaker says Jarton and Val are going back to Sweden today. They say hi. Hi to Jarton and Val. How you doing? Friends of ours from the bin podcast, which is a podcast that's well worth seeing. But yeah, so turn off push alerts from news sites in particular, but also social media. And then, micro acts of agency, right? Small wins help. Emailing your MP, signing a petition, going to a protest, helping a neighbor, actually getting out and doing something that's helping. And you don't have to go and volunteer at the soup kitchen every fucking day, but getting involved so you know where the homeless charity is in Liverpool, and saying I can give some time to this. That volunteering is so good for your mental health, because one of the reasons why we feel so down and why we feel like that pressing of grief on our chests is because we feel helpless. And this is a great way of not feeling so helpless. And oh my God, Ori has just dropped £100 hyper chat in here. Thank you so much, Ori. New equipment fund. Thanks for this one, Graham. Been slowly easing my way back into politics after quite a long break. I feel awful for taking my eyes off everything, but life has been overwhelming without hearing about the apocalypse again. Ori, first of all, thank you. We started talking about this. This is me going down ADHD rabbit holes, isn't it? Side quests. I was going to mention what I need is a USB microphone that's lightweight, because I've got the Jedi. What's wrong with me this morning? The Yeti, the Jedi Yeti. Imagine a Jedi that's all. Imagine a Yeti that's also a Jedi. My Yeti microphone, it weighs a ton. It's like a goddamn brick. Like if I put that in my backpack, it's like it's like having 10 pounds of potatoes in your backpack. So what I want is like a really lightweight, portable microphone that I can plug in to the USB. And when I go on holiday in a couple of weeks' time, I want to take that with me. So Ori, thank you so much. I will use your money to buy that microphone. So it would be called Ori's microphone. Ori is the hero of the day. Yeah. Lavalier mics are cheap. Yeah. I've got lavaliers. I've actually got them, but I don't know what's wrong with the sound card on this bloody thing. I need a USB. It needs to go in as a USB, not as a TDDLS, whatever the fuck it's called. Right. Anyway, thank you so much, Ori. That is just amazing. Thank you. Chewbacca is Chewbacca covered in snow with a lightsaber. Who doesn't want to think about that? But yeah, feeling powerless, right, is the goal of fascists and billionaires. That is their goal. That's what they want you to do. They want you to give up. If you look at all the abuse that sympathetic gets online, so much of it is calling for her to shut up. It's like people going, will you shut up? Will you stop? Will you shut up? Will you please shut up? Will you? And honestly, one of the reasons why Tan does not shut up is because so many of those trolls, so many of those fash, those Nazis, those nasty people on the internet, they can't win. If she shuts up, they win. And so the fact that they can't shut her up is it drives them up the wall. Good. I'm glad it drives them up the wall, because they go out to actively damage the mental health of the rest of us. They wake up in the morning, and instead of going, how can I help? How can I help? The three most beautiful words in the universe, please help me. You know, it's they wake up and they go, I'm going to be horrible to someone today. I'm going to ruin someone's day. I'm going to make their day really shit. And you're like, oh my God, really? Really? This is what you're here on this earth to do? Make other people's lives a bit shit. But yeah, even doing a little thing, even just helping someone that you see in distress, giving to someone who's homeless, or giving to a homeless charity, giving your time to someone who needs a friend to sit with them, you know, helping out your mates. It's really, really important that we do that, not just because it's a nice thing to do, but it's really important for our mental health, to make us feel like, you know, we're not helpless. And we're not. We are genuinely not helpless. We have 8 billion small acts of kindness. That'll change the world, obviously, clearly. And when you help people out, it encourages them to help people out in turn. And people do pay it forward. They do. You know, you help someone move, a mate move, and they're more likely to help another mate move in the future because they were helped out. And I think it's in our nature. Well, most of it's in our nature, not the sociopaths. I'm not talking about them at the moment. But, you know, it's in our nature to want to help and to want to actually make a difference, even if it's in a small way. So, yeah, it's a really good way to help out. And if there's a community project that you can get involved in, non-political, just, you know, painting the swings at the local playground or something, just doing something that helps your community can make such a difference. Not just to your community, but I mean to your help, to your health. Books. This is something that we just don't do enough these days. And look, I'm not having a go because I'm talking to myself a lot in this. I don't read enough. I don't read anything like I used to. I used to be a voracious reader. I would read a new book every couple of days. Last book I read was Empireland, which came out like 2 years ago. I've not sat down and read a book for bloody ages. I read Critical by Julia Patterson because I was doing an interview with her, and I felt like it would be a bit rude to do an interview with her about her book and not having read her book. But it was about politics. Empireland's about the empire, you know, it's about politics. And I really want to try and get into some fantasy books, like just be transported to another place, another time, through the words on a book. And also, when you're reading, you slow down. It's not so in your face. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can take your time to like enjoy the words, enjoy the sentences, enjoy the prose. And it was anything that I'm giving as advice here won't work for everyone. I know it won't, but some things, give it a go. Make an effort to go to Waterstones. Please don't go to Amazon if you can avoid it. And, you know, get a couple of books that you've meant to read for ages. Get some classics. I've got to say, like, some of the old books that I've read, the classics, have been fucking phenomenal. The stuff by Joseph Conrad, The Secret Agent, Nostromo, Lord Jim. And then you've got they're just fantastic books. I know that someone like, I don't know, Moby Dick's a bit of a slog, and don't get me started on Ulysses by James Joyce. That's like trying to do one of those jigsaws. You know those jigsaws that you used to get? I think they were called Impossible Puzzles. I don't know if you still get them. And it was baked beans. It was just baked beans, not on a plate, just baked beans from edge to edge, just baked beans, and you had to try and make the. That's like what Ulysses was like. But yeah, Frankenstein. It's a really good book. It's just a great book. Dracula. I love it. I know some people, don't like it because it's a little bit too funny. When you read it, you'll understand what I mean by that. But yeah, you don't have to read Hemingway. Although I love Hemingway, but God, his books are fucking depressing. Oh my God. I don't want to do any spoilers for Hemingway, but everyone dies at the end. Sorry. Don't get too involved in any of the characters in it, because they probably won't be there by the end of the book. But yeah, and there's a book that's like a comfort to you. Read it again. There's no reason why you only have to read a book once. And there's no shame in it if you're going to read some pulpy nonsense. It's fine. We got so much arrogance, condescension when it comes to literature. And I feel the same way that I do about like pop music and action movies. I'm like, if people enjoy them, what's the problem? If you want to read a bubblegum novel, some chick lit or something, if you enjoy it, why not? Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like, oh my God, I should be reading Sylvia Plath, but I'm reading this like latest like nonsense book about the girl in the window across the street from the other woman in the tree who saw me from a train or whatever. If you enjoy it, enjoy it. Why should people feel ashamed about the fact that Da Vinci Code's quite a good read? I mean, it's nonsense. It's popcorn, but it's great. It's fucking great. It's one of those books that every single chapter ends on a cliffhanger. So you're like, oh, I'll just read a bit of the next chapter, and you end up reading the whole bloody thing, and then you're like, oh, there's another cliffhanger. But yeah, you'd have to read gloomy, Scandinavian noir. Just read some daft shit. Graham, in describing Hemingway, you've just described life itself. Everyone dies in the end. Yeah. Everywhere. Everyone, everywhere, everything dies. The last season of 6 Feet Under. But yeah. Yeah, so reading actual books, stuff that you enjoy. Don't read it for a chore. Don't read it to challenge yourself necessarily, unless you want to. But and enjoy it. Just enjoy that. Enjoy that music. Enjoy what you enjoy. Enjoy the movies, and don't feel bad about them. That's one of the things I try not to do. I mean, I'll pick on a particular movie that I think is a bad movie, but not genres. I won't say I don't watch musicals. I don't watch action movies. I don't watch superhero movies, because some of them are shite. Some of them are fucking awesome. Some of them are amazing. Some of my favorite films are musicals, like Sinners, which came out this year, which is an incredible movie, is a musical. It's a musical. It's not advertised as a musical, but it is. Wonka, which I thought was bloody wonderful, the prequel to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. Sorry, I've got a really creaky chair here. So crack out the WD-40. That was great. That's a musical. I absolutely love the bones of Moulin Rouge and other stuff. And just looking at a particular genre of movie and going, oh, that's all shit. I mean, Adam Sandler's made some funny movies. I mean, it was a long time ago. He's also been some good movies that are dramas. But, someone's really, really into Adam Sandler movies, that's their lookout. If they enjoy it, they're not hurting anyone. If they're enjoying it and they're not hurting anyone, what is the problem? Moulin Rouge is in my top 5. It's just brilliant, isn't it? I think I saw that twice at the cinema. Also, to just talk about sort of your friendship groups and using online resources. Like I'm in a WhatsApp group with friends and the political people that make the streams and stuff. So Phil's in there, and Tansky, and Mike, and Wayne, and Rachel, and God, we have a laugh. I mean, we talk about serious politics as well, but Aid's in there, and he's always talking about his dad's balls. I mean, it's just hilarious. It's just dead funny. And it's just like, it's nice to be able to talk and have a group of friends. And if something's getting us down, we can have a chat about it. You know, being able to normalize saying, I'm not okay. The worst thing that we do in society, well, not the worst thing, but one of the bad things we do in society is to tell men in particular to man up. Fuck that expression. Fuck that expression all the way to hell. Like, actually, you know, being able to say, I'm not doing so well today and talking about it, you know, group chats, and having meetups, seeing your friends and not talking about politics is so important. And yeah, being able to curate your own online space is important as well. You know, to be able to block sort of toxic accounts, following content that makes you smile. Like, it doesn't all have to be about politics. You know, find someone who's you know, posts surreal memes, or maybe there's a website that posts a Far Side cartoon every day so you can stare at it for an hour trying to work out what the joke is. Or maybe like kittens, fucking kittens. Let's just get the kitten feed. Or maybe if there's, like, I've got friends who are abs, and I get this, they love watching people clean stuff on TikTok, like clean talk. It's amazing. Like, it'll be a couch or a car, and they'll clean it like a car. It's absolutely filthy inside, and you just see it getting cleaned. It's just dead therapeutic. It's just like, this is awesome. Find stuff that works for you. Won't work for everyone, but find the stuff that works for you. And, you know, try and start the day with something calming. I know this is something ironic, me saying, like, because I do me morning brews, and I'm like, this guy's been a knobhead today, let's talk about it. But yeah, sometimes give it a miss, or watch the morning brew later on in the day. You don't have to be in the chat. For instance, in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, you're not supposed to start reading them. They're the same guy. Tyler Durden, I'm looking at you, says Aqua Dave. Yeah. The twists that people have ruined forever. And if you can, you know, start the day with something calming. Start the day with something that you enjoy. Do you know what really works for me, right? My tea's made. I absolutely love my tea's made. It's crap. I mean, it's like really badly put together. It's a Swan Teas Made. It was bought for me as a present by my in-laws, and it's just fantastic. I just, every night before I go to bed, I get this ready with some coffee in it, or tea, and or tea bag, and some milk. Put the top on so the milk doesn't go off overnight. And in the morning, I wake up with hot water there, pour it in, got it, and I'm like, oh yes, thank you. And I'm still in bed. The day can start in a moment, but I'm having me tea. Let me have me tea in bed. So that's sort of like my morning ritual. And then I go into panic mode and have to do me thumbnail and write all me blurb and everything from my show. Have a shower at like 8 minutes to 9. Run downstairs with my hair still wet. Put my hat on my wet hair. Press stream and hope that it fucking works. I have comfort shows that I watch whenever I'm feeling shit. Yeah. For comfort TV, comfort music, comfort films, just films that you're really familiar with. My comfort films are Indiana Jones. That it's not actually Star Wars. I think maybe years ago it used to be. But God, I can just watch the first 3, not the nonsense that's come afterwards, but like the first 3 Indiana Jones movies. I can just put them on and just go, yeah. Don't have to watch them too intensely, but just popcorn in it. Just absolute, you know, it's therapy. There's your therapy. It's cheaper than paying for a therapist. And also, if you're not feeling great, there's a part that needs to tell people that, you know, you're not feeling great, and you should definitely absolutely do that to your friends, because your friends will be concerned about you. But after saying you're not feeling great, say I'm gonna turn my notifications off today. You know, just tell your friends. Just say I'm not feeling great today, and you know you might get a bit of love from your friends, and then you say, you know, I'm going to turn my notifications off so they're not worrying about you. So they're not like, you know, don't say I feel like shit today, and then no one can get in contact with you for the rest of the day, because you're just going to stress other people out. So just have a think about how it comes across if you do that. But yeah, turning off your notifications and just saying, I'm don't leave the group. Don't leave the group. Unless you really want to. But like, yeah, just mute the notifications for the day. Let people have their own chats and, let them get on with it, especially if they're talking about politics. And do your own thing. And don't feel guilty for not engaging all the time. You don't have to be. We've got this thing now where we feel like we've got to be permanently engaged and permanently like on call. And it's mad, isn't it? Like, we just don't have that downtime that we used to have. And I wish we did. I wish we'd get that back. I look back to the 90s and I try not to fall into the toxic nostalgia trap. I try so hard. But at the same time, you know what? Not having a mobile phone was fucking great. Just being able to just be in the moment and just go to bed and sleep, without bloody notifications popping up on your phone and, some tragedies happened on some island in the middle of nowhere. Donkey, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Dilbert is a great cathartic comic too. Thank you for that. And then Helen Turner has joined the Lone Star. We're named after Lone Star from Spaceballs, and now we're getting Spaceballs too, which is really cool. So finally, talking about like, how we can help ourselves. Seek help if you need it. Like, there is no embarrassment in going to the doctors and saying, I'm not feeling right. I'm not feeling like I used to. NHS, I know that the mental health from the NHS isn't as good as it should be, but it is there. And there is other forms of mental health support that you can look for. Therapy isn't. Men especially have this issue with going into therapy and thinking, oh no, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm 100% okay, and when they're not okay, and being able to say, no, I need some help with this. I need to talk this stuff through to help yourself. It's not defeat. It's not giving up. It's maintenance. It's freaking maintenance. In the same way that you need to keep your car maintained by topping up the oil and, I don't know, giving it a car wash every now and again. You've got to keep your body maintained. You've got to keep your mind maintained. And it's a way of doing it. So don't ever think, that because you're seeing a therapist. And the other side of that is, don't think that because you're on medication that you shouldn't be on medication. It's fine. It's fine. Some people are on medication all their life because of a chronic illness. And if your mental health isn't the best, it is fine for you to be on medicine, feeling bad about being on medicine because of this social fucking stigma that some patriarchal twat made up back in the 60s or something. Oh, you shouldn't be on pills. You shouldn't be on medication. Oh, that's a bad thing. This is shit. What you want to do is go for a walk. No. Take the pills that work for you. And not all pills are going to work for everyone. Make that very clear. Find out what works for you, what actually clears the noise in your head or gives you a spring in your step or whatever it is that you require, and go for a walk. It's not one or the other because it all helps. But yeah, I get particularly irate about this kind of stigma that we have about pills, about this idea like, oh, I don't want to be taking them pills. And it's like, are they making you feel better? Yeah, but I want to be able to survive without them. I'm like, well, all things being equal, if you had cystic fibrosis, you will keep taking your medication, because if you don't take your medication, you fucking die. So yeah, but finding out that doing the titration thing, finding out what works for you is important as well. And also a little bit of advice: don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Just because one set of medication didn't work or made it even worse, it doesn't mean another set of medication will as well. So just try it before you go, right, that's not for me. I give the example about anti-malarials, which I think is really, really important. Like the fact that you have people who wouldn't take them because they'd had a bad experience on Lamium, when there's other chloroquine, there's doxycycline, there's other medication you can take, but because they'd had a bad experience on one of them, they didn't even try the other ones. So really, really, if I can give some advice, I advise against that. It's pretty cool that we can do that. Go to a doctor and talk to them for free. I remember America when I was sick on the asthma med, just to speak to them cost $25 mental. Yeah, trip. I mean, we're very lucky with the NHS in this country. Spinal Tap always hit the spot for me. Oh, I love Spinal Tap. I know when the jokes are going to happen. I still laugh like it's the first time I saw it. I have that with Airplane. It will crack me up, even though I know every single joke, and I know it's coming. But yeah, comfort food, comfort TV. And yeah, so yeah, I just talk about the bigger picture. Mental health is political. Austerity, housing insecurity, climate collapse, digital addiction. It all exacerbates your poor mental health. And a government, our government could be funding, universal access to therapy, clean air, green spaces, support groups. Unfortunately, ours doesn't at the moment. I'm hoping that they will move towards that kind of thing, because support groups are awesome as well. But if I had a problem with alcohol, I don't want to go to Alcoholics Anonymous because it's church based, and I don't want to give up. One of the steps is about giving. It's an American deal, and one of the things is like giving up your agency to a higher power or something, and I'm like, no, fuck that. I don't believe in higher powers. Go away. So it would ruin it for me. I don't do very well in meditation groups. I can't meditate. Forget it. Don't even try to say, oh, but if you do this breathing technique, Graham, you'll be able to meditate. I can't. I'm ADHD up the fucking wall. Right? I talked to a therapist for like half an hour, and she was like, yeah, you're pretty much one of the most textbook cases of ADHD I have ever encountered. I can't do it. I can't shut my brain off. I can slow it down a little bit, but not by meditation. My thing is distraction. I'm not saying that meditation doesn't work. It absolutely does work for other people. It just doesn't work for me. Distraction works for me. Hyper focus on a jigsaw or a cryptic crossword puzzle or something like that absolutely works for me. But yeah, group therapy, people being able to meet up in groups and discuss their issues and stuff like that. ADHD support groups. I think my WhatsApp channel that I was talking to you about before has turned into a bit of an ADHD support group. Everyone in there seems to have been diagnosed with it. But ADHD people tend to congregate, because the only people in this life that we don't piss off are the other people with ADHD. Sometimes you piss them off as well, but that's another story. But yeah, I having the support group that I could go to in Durham with people who are experiencing the same thing I do, and having that feeling of being the understanding that other people are going through the same thing, and is really helpful. I've spoken before about my diagnosis of ADHD has really helped me, even though I'm not on any medication, I'm not having any therapy or anything like that. Just having that diagnosis makes things make a lot more sense to me, and that really helps. Meditation is painful, says Helen Turner. Yeah, for me it's painful. For other people it's fantastic, but for me it's painful. And I was also at the same point, look, if a mindfulness app works for you, by all means use it, but don't be lulled into the idea that this is the be all and end all. An important thing to remember is if something doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean that the problem is you. Okay, so don't try and push water uphill. There are hundreds of different ways of dealing with everyday life. You just need to find the things that work for you, and don't feel any shame in it, as long as you're not hurting anyone, But as long as it's something that you enjoy, there is no shame in it, Have fun. We're here for a good time, not a long time. But having said that, I would really counsel against getting well into the wellness industry. There are some absolute creeps over there. You don't need me to name names, but you know who I'm talking about. The people who are like, yeah, wellness, and they're doing it as a grift. They're not doing it to help you. They're not doing stuff for free. They're doing stuff to sell shit to you. Ori says, I tried medication, didn't get anywhere, and found it so frustrating. I eventually accepted that it doesn't work for me. Yeah, Ori, same boat. Elle says, when I was 30, I had a plan to study counselling, then by 40 to qualify and move to America. Many things put pay to that plan. Glad I'll probably be in El Salvador now, though. Yeah, Elle, yeah, going to America. Seemed like a good idea back in the day. These days, less so. Definitely less so. So also, so just be aware that there are people who are offering you one-size-fits-all solutions to complex problems. And there's nothing more complex than the problems that you are experiencing. Your brain is the most complex thing we know of in the universe. Your brain is more complex than the interplay between galaxies, than the physical manifestations of the physical properties of a black hole. That's simple compared to the complexity of your brain. So when people are offering simple one-size-fits-all solutions that you have to pay for, just be quite wary of that. I know that I always am. I would like to see a move towards collective care where we all help each other out. I think there are some policy changes that could really help with this. I don't see why I have to wait a year to see a psychiatrist to start titration for my medication for ADHD and have nothing in the meantime. I don't understand why there isn't a local group in Durham for people who have ADHD just to meet up. A group, it's free to go. It's once a week. You just go into, in the city centre, could be upstairs in a pub and get like a non-alcoholic beer or something and sit there and have a discussion. I think it would really, really help. And that should be set up by the government. It would cost fuck all. Like, the pub will be like, oh, so what? You're going to have some people come around? Yeah. Maybe not a pub because that might be a bit insensitive and discriminatory against people who are either religiously can't drink for religious reasons or recovering alcoholics. So maybe like a cafe or something, or just a social space that we can meet once a week while I'm waiting to get me medication. That would be really helpful, and having those conversations with people and knowing I'm not alone and knowing that I'm not broken. I'm just a bit different, which is fine. Some of us need to be a bit different. And then, so if yoga works for you, do yoga. If meditation works for you, do meditate. If going to the gym works for you, go to the gym. But don't feel like just because those things don't work for you that you're the problem in it, because you're not. You're never the problem. The problem is that it's just a long process sometimes to find out what works for you. And just, when we talk about self-care, like resistance, even just watching this is resistance. It's organizing, it's community building. We're building a community here on the Politics Social channel. Going out to protests as well. These are acts of self-preservation. I often said when I was going out for these anti-Brexit marches that I was either at or was helping organize, people say, well, what's the point? You're not going to change Jeremy Corbyn's mind. And I'm like, this is like gay pride to me. This is like EU pride. It's the idea of, and I think it's about the rejoin marches that I go on. It's not about necessarily, changing government policy tomorrow. I don't think that we will. I believe in putting pressure on politicians, but I understand, I see it in the whole, But I see it more like meeting up with people who agree with you and making, knowing you're not alone is so important in this life. Knowing that you're not going mad. You're not the only one who feels this way. And being in a march with 500,000 other people who all feel the same way about leaving the EU, like we shouldn't, is brilliant for your mental health. It's knowing that you're not alone. You're not just a single voice in the wilderness. There's lots of voices in the wilderness. But and this is how I feel like a healthy society must include collective mental health support, and it might not come from places that you'll think of necessarily. So like, you'll think of yoga, you'll feel like breathing exercises and meditation and stuff, or going for a nice walk. But also it can be getting involved in politics. It can be going to a protest. It can be, going to a march. It can just be like watching your friends on these channels, people who you like hanging out with, who you like, wittering on for 1 hour and 39 minutes on a Sunday morning. I do have things to get going for, so I'm not going to go on too much. But, you know, just to say, be someone that people can talk to. I think that's really important. And I often say, like, if you haven't heard from a mate for a while, just drop them a message. Just say, all right, mate, how's it going? Because, especially when you get to my age.
When you get to my age, because I'm a little old man. Yeah.
There are some friends that you only talk to when something bad has happened. Like they've got divorced or, you know, parents died or something. And that's the first time you've spoken in months or even years. Like try to make an effort to just say, all right, you know, how's it going? And know that, and be the type of person, or at least try to be the type of person that people feel like they can talk to and they can open up to, and they can say, I'm having this problem right now, and be able to respond to that in a way that works for them and yourself. But like, you know, don't be judgmental. Don't give advice unless they ask for advice. You know, don't say, well, what you want to do? Or please, for the love of God, do never say what you should have done. It's like the worst thing you can say to someone who's beating themselves up about this bad thing that's happened in their life. And you go, well, what you should have done. And you're like, no, fuck off. But yeah, so you know, be there for your friends, be there for your family. Check in on quiet friends. If you're not heard from someone for a while, just give them a text, just a message. You know, don't phone them because that's a bit rude these days. But like, you know, just text them and say you're right, without having to need to, you know, contact them because someone's died. And you know, share resources for people who are, you know, looking for help that work for you. But don't spam them. Don't say, or you know, the sort of friend equivalent to spamming is saying this worked for me and you've got to do this thing. There's only one way to skin this cat. There's only one way to get off, you know, drugs, or the only way, one way to stop this addiction that you've got, or whatever it is. This is the only thing that works because it works for you. Yeah, don't use that mindset. You know, give them, if they want, hello, I'm still streaming. No, I'm still going. 5 minutes. And my mum was like, if you're still rabbiting on. Not bad considering I was up to 3 a.m. drinking. When that happened to me is on par with that, says Helen Turner. Helen Turner. Yeah, Helen. I think as well, like there is something that we all do, which is when we're in a discussion with someone, in a conversation, and this isn't about ego, it's just about the flow of human conversation. We'll say something like, we'll hear someone discuss something that's happened to them, and then we'll say, oh, that's similar to something that happened to me. And we do this quite a lot, and sometimes I have to sort of pull myself back on this. The worst time to do that is when someone tells you an idea, they've got an idea in their head, and the first thing you say is, oh, that's a bit like, and then you name a movie that it's exactly the same as. You know, we all sometimes do that, I guess. There is still that stigma, especially with boys and men, talking about thoughts and feelings as a sign of weakness, says Chris C. Yeah. And we need to overcome that stigma. Chris says, I was scared if I talked about intrusive thoughts, I would be branded as crazy, so bottled them up for years and years. Yeah. And that's society that did that to you, Chris. And I'm just hoping that we're moving to a place where we can grow our own communities online, get away from this anonymous bullshit social media, and make it so that we have our groups. And I kind of like WhatsApp for this, even though it's on my fucking Meta, but that's another story. But just being able to have a group where you can discuss stuff, you can discuss mental health problems or physical health problems or politics, or just have a laugh and, you know, share some jokes and funny memes and stuff in a group that's not going to have some random come along and go, you're a twat. And that's what drives me up the wall about like Facebook. Facebook could be so good if it was just about finding out what's happening with your mates, but it's not anymore. Anyone can comment on your stuff unless you make every single post friends only. And even then, you know, people can still contact you, I guess, or send you fucking friends requests or message requests, is it, or whatever it's called. I kind of want a more closed Facebook, but a more closed system. I don't need to use it as a tool for broadcasting. I'd rather just use it as a tool for keeping up with what my mates are doing and what my mates are up to. You know, sort of looking at what's happening in your community. I think that's really important as well. Tending your allotment. do a jezza. But the really important thing at the end of all this is you're not alone. You're not alone, right? This shit is hard. You're not imagining it, and it's not a sign of weakness to have to take time off. You know, but also you're not powerless. You have the right to be happy. You have the right to make a joke, you know, be at peace, find connection with other people, even in the omni crisis. You absolutely do. And you know, I'll sign off with something. I'll try not to get too emotional when I talk about this, but so yesterday I was on my way to Liverpool and found out that one of my friend's kids had been taken ill and been taken to All Day Hospital, which isn't far from here in West Derby. And he was going to be in hospital for a few days. So I went along to say hello yesterday and play some video games. And my friend, while I was on the way, texted me to say, did you know Martha, the little girl who died? And I wrote back saying, well, I didn't know Martha herself, but I know her mum, Meripy. And she said, because there's this is in every room here, and it's Martha's rule. And what it is it's a duty for hospital staff to take parents' concerns seriously, to check in with parents every day and make sure they're happy with the treatment that their child is receiving, to also give parents a right to a second opinion if they feel like their child's health is deteriorating. The backstory to this, and you might have heard about this in the news, was that Martha Mills, 12 years old, she's on holiday in Wales, I think, and she fell off a bike. And she went to hospital and her condition went downhill. And her mum, Meripy, was calling out to the doctors going, what's happening? And they were like, no, it's fine. She's just fallen off her bike. It's this, you know. She couldn't get a second opinion. She felt like her concern was being dismissed, right? And Martha got sepsis and she died. And I know Meripy from university. We were in uni together. She was the editor of our student rag when we were in uni together. And we met up in Bestival years ago. And it would be upsetting enough if I didn't have that connection, but I do. But after that happened, Meripy went on this crusade, this mission, so that what happened to Martha would never happen to another child, where the parents' concerns were dismissed. And she did it. She brought in Martha's rule. It's there now in every children's hospital in the country. They have this new rules that are there to ensure that what happened to Martha will never, hopefully, never happen again. And it just shows that one person can make a difference, even in the most horrific, unthinkable circumstances. One person can make a difference. And that, for me, is everything in life. And it's why we can't give up just trying, because we don't know what's going to happen down the line. We don't know what ripples will be created in the pond by the stone that we throw in it. So stay on the good side. But we need you, okay? We need you. We need the nice people. We need the people who care about this planet and care about the people on it. So let's stick together. If we need to take time out, take time out. And don't ever, ever think that your voice makes no difference or that you can't make a change, that you're powerless, because that's what the fuckers want you to believe. They want you to believe that you are powerless. but you're not. You're not, I'm not. None of us are, right? Even if it's just a small thing, you know. Chaos theory, the beating of a butterfly's wings can cause a hurricane. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm going back to the hospital now to go and see my mate and her kid. So thanks very much for joining me this morning. Thanks so much to Ori in particular. I'm gonna get Ori's microphone and take it on holiday with me in a couple of weeks' time when we go away. And I'll be taking you with me as well. I'll still be doing the shows. So yeah, might be doing them a little bit earlier because I want to kind of. One of the sort of mistakes I think I made when I went away a couple of years ago or last year when we went to Legoland is I tried to keep the show at the same time, but I was an hour ahead. So I might do like a really early show. I might do like a wide awake club at like 7 o'clock in the morning for you guys. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But until next time, thank you so much. Look out for each other and yourselves. And yeah, like I say, keep fighting the good fight. And if you need to take some time out and take care of yourself, okay? And I'll sign off now. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with Morning Brew. And we'll be getting into whatever the shit is going on in the world on Monday morning. So until then, thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.